The pencil trembled in Unterfeldwebel Burkhart's hand as he wrote words that could earn him solitary confinement. The Americans must be lying to us. Through the train window on June 4, 1943, the German POW witnessed something impossible. Every farmhouse, every street corner, every shop in Mexia, Texas blazed with electric light at 10 p.m. In Germany, blackout regulations had plunged the Reich into darkness since 1940. Even before the war, only 20% of German farms had electricity. Yet here, it flowed like water. What the 1850 veterans of Rommel's Africa Corps couldn't know was that this moment would trigger the most profound psychological transformation in modern POW history. A systematic demolition of Nazi ideology through the sheer display of American abundance. The journey of disbelief. The collapse had begun in Tunisia, May 13, 1943, when 250,000 German and Italian soldiers surrendered. The journey to revelation started immediately. As they waited in Oran, Algeria, Oberfeldwebel Hans Müller later wrote to his mother, "The Americans fed us better than we had eaten in 6 months of desert warfare. White bread, real coffee, meat twice a day. We thought it was propaganda. We didn't realize this was their standard military ration." The Liberty ships carrying them across the Atlantic were themselves monuments to impossible production. Vessels built in under 5 days, 3 per day at peak output. Feldwebel Kurt Zimmermann watched American sailors dispose of more food waste daily than his entire company had received in weekly rations. "They threw away half-eaten steaks, whole loaves of bread," he wrote. Their supply was limitless. America, through enemy eyes. When the trains rolled through Virginia toward Texas, the prisoners pressed their faces to windows, witnessing an America that couldn't exist. Every small town blazed with light. Factories ran night shifts, their parking lots full of workers' private automobiles. In Germany, car ownership remained a privilege of the elite. Here, ordinary laborers drove to work. The prisoners traveled in cushioned Pullman coaches with dining cars and white tablecloths, not cattle cars. One sergeant apologized that the air conditioning wasn't working properly. Feldwebel Radke wrote, "We boarded like tourists, not prisoners." As they passed Ford's Willow Run plant, Luftwaffe pilot Hauptmann Werner counted 17 B-24 bombers in various stages of completion. "We had been told American planes were inferior, hastily built," he noted. "These were built faster than we could imagine possible." The arithmetic of abundance. The numbers told a story no propaganda could counter. The Campbell Soup Factory in New Jersey processed more tomatoes in a day than German factories handled in a month. A single American farmer with machinery did the work of 100 German farmers. In California, prisoners watched perfect fruit bulldozed into pits because of oversupply. Mountains of oranges destroyed while Germany starved. Camp Hearn, Texas, built in 4 months, housed prisoners in wooden barracks with electric lights, flush toilets, and hot showers. The camp hospital exceeded most German civilian facilities. Dr. Friedrich Bauer found himself using penicillin freely, a miracle drug unavailable in Germany. "They used it even on prisoners with minor infections," he testified later. The Christmas feast of 1943 shattered final remnants of Nazi theory. Turkey, ham, vegetables, pies, ice cream. Quantities Germany hadn't seen since before World War I. When local churches sent 500,000 Christmas packages to German POWs and performed German carols, Oberleutnant Walter Müller wrote, "What kind of people treat enemies this way? Only those absolutely certain of victory." The conversion. By 1944, over 40,000 prisoners enrolled in educational programs studying democracy and economics. They read multiple American newspapers freely, saw Hollywood films depicting American self-criticism, witnessed women operating cranes and welding ship hulls. Everything they'd been told was impossible in a democracy. Lieutenant Joseph Kramer observed, "They hide nothing. They show their problems, their failures, yet this honesty makes them stronger. In Germany, such criticism would mean death." When news of the Normandy invasion reached the camps, 6,000 ships, 11,000 aircraft, 150,000 men, prisoners experienced final ideological collapse. Oberst Friedrich von Tauben wrote, "We knew then that everything was lost. We had challenged the world's greatest industrial power with fairy tales and racial mythology, seeds of transformation." Between 1945 and 1946, 371,683 German POWs returned home. They brought with them knowledge that would reshape Germany. Hans Kroll, prisoner at Camp Shelby, became West German ambassador to the United States. Walter Hallstein taught classes at Camp Como and later became president of the European Commission. Dozens of former POWs rose to leadership positions. "We learned that prosperity came from freedom, not conquest," Kroll wrote. "Democracy created wealth. These lessons shaped the new Germany." Post-war surveys revealed the program's success. 95% rated their treatment as good or excellent. 74% believed captivity positively changed their worldview. Only 2,222 escape attempts occurred from over 371,000 prisoners, a 0.6% rate. Thousands maintained correspondence with American families for decades. The secret weapon. At the 1985 reunion in Austin, Texas, 500 former prisoners returned. Oberst Hermann Goetz, then 78, captured their transformation. "We came to America as enemies, as Nazis, as believers in a lie. We left as friends, as Democrats, as men who had seen the truth. America's true weapon was not its bombs, but its inexhaustible capacity for creation." The German economic miracle of the 1950s was built partly on knowledge gained in American prison camps. Former POWs brought American efficiency to German industry, American methods to German agriculture, and American democratic ideals to German politics. America's greatest victory wasn't on the battlefield. It was in prison camps, where overwhelming evidence of democratic prosperity accomplished what armies could not: the complete transformation of enemy minds. The prisoners had arrived expecting to find a weak, divided nation. Instead, they discovered an industrial colossus of unlimited power and surprising humanity. They had seen America at its peak, and they would never be the same. Their transformation proved that the most powerful weapon isn't force. It's the simple, overwhelming evidence of what free people can achieve when they work together.